And hello, everyone, to the next. See, we're already fucked up. Welcome to the newest episode number 11, of course, of Shooting the Shit with Jim. And I am your host, Jim. And with me tonight, see, I'm speechless because I am so honored and thrilled to have royalty in the room. And by royalty, of course, I am talking about the king of yams himself, my partner in crime from Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim, and from Kenny's Movie Palace, my good friend, and yours, Kenny. How are you, my friend?
Thank you very much, Jim, for that awesome introduction. I am
No,
very
thank
good.
you so much for being here, Your Majesty. I totally bask in your eternal glow. But in all seriousness, I'm really happy you're here, buddy.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So anyways, yeah, Kenny, as I said, he is one of my co-hosts along with Sean, who was the guest last time from Movie Assault and Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim. And he has his own channel, Kenny's Movie Palace. And you could reach Kenny at Kenny's Movie Palace at Kenny Jones 6369. That's the actual handle.
Yep.
Please, if you haven't done so, get over there and subscribe and show Kenny some love. You can also reach Kenny on Instagram at kenny.jones_19, and all of his information is on there as well. Before we get into the show, I want to go ahead and mention some of the people here in the comments. It looks like we've already got 9 in climbing.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's great. We have Sean, of course, our other co-host from Talking Movies. Thank you so much for being here, Sean. I appreciate it, buddy. We've got Greg Brewer. Hey, Greg, how are you,
Greg.
bud? It's good to see you, bud. Mr. Dan, of course, is here. Mr. Dan in Har. We've got Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music. Thank you so much, Corey, for being here. We've got Adam all the way from the UK. Thank you so much, Adam, for being here. We really appreciate your support. And, of course, it wouldn't be a show without Stacy being here. Thank you so much, Stacy, for being here. Really appreciate it. And speaking of the UK, not you, Stacy. Carlos, Eastwood for Life fan is here. Thank you so much, Carlos, for being here as well. Okay. Here we go. We have another UK member here, Roy from Blue Roy Movies.
Hey, Roy. I
Good
love
day,
his
guys.
channel.
How's it hanging? It's hanging low. Thank you very much.
Slightly to the left.
And Ryan is here as well. Thank you so much for being here, Ryan. Oh, yeah, see? You get royalty in the room, and the masses will come.
Thank you. You will build it, they will come.
UK takeover. And Ryan is very excited to see Kenny in the
thanks, Ryan.
here. As am I. Okay, now I am seeing that Stacy, of course, is already leaving questions, and that's great. I will be getting to them, but first, before we get into all that, I got to start the show the way I normally do. Kenny, how did you get your start on YouTube, my friend?
Well, it was I had been thinking about getting a channel for years, and my mom kept on, because I've been a movie fan for all my life. I love movies. My mom got sick. That kind of put things off the pasture. And while she was sick, she goes, "I think you should go on the YouTube and talk." She goes, "You know more about movies than a lot of these people do." And I was like, okay. So after, unfortunately, she passed away, and about like a month after she passed, I had just got a Hamilton book order, not a sponsor yet. So I had and if you notice the first one, I am not on camera because I am not Don Johnson, believe me, right here. Okay. So it was like the first one, I had it against I had gotten the box, opened it up, and just was like, oh, and here's what I got from Hamilton book, So I was on there, and then I had started doing a podcast with one of the guys, John, Low IQ Media, and he was like, "Yeah, you should come on the show." Like, I was just doing it for like once, and then he goes, "Oh no, you're funny. I think you should be my co-host on here." So we started doing it like every Thursday, and then that kind of fizzled out. That's how I met Sean from doing that. So I've gotten more of the courage to do, the videos. I have a speech impediment with like stuttering, so I am very, very self-conscious of that. But I just do my best. I love movies. I love talking movies, and that's basically how the channel started.
No, your channel's great.
Thank you.
I discovered your channel before we actually even met, so to speak.
Okay.
Because again, for people who don't know, like I said earlier, I am on the bi-weekly show with Kenny and Sean every couple of weeks. But I had watched both of their channels prior to that, but I saw the two of them were guests on Patrick Have Cheetah Will View.
Yeah.
As a live guest, and that was right when you guys were starting your show, because they started the show. They were on for a good month or two before I even came on as a guest. So it was really your guys' show, and I've just been blessed to be part of it. So I appreciate that.
Dude, you've been nothing but great on it and brought like a lot of stuff to the channel, so we appreciate it. And you got that.
I bring the sixth sense of humor, and I educate you about two women in a cup.
Oh yeah, which I still haven't seen. But the one that like really sold me was the drive-in videos that you were doing, and your stories about the drive-in. I mean, that just like killed me. I was like dead, because Sean was like, "Yeah, I know this Jim," and I was like, "Oh, the guy from the drive-in thing," and he was like, "Yeah," like kind of like that.
The guy from the drive-in.
Yeah, and we talked about it. I said, "Oh yeah, he had talked about these," and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's the guy." I said, "Dude, you got to bring him in. That's just like some of the greatest stories that you'll ever want to know."
Well, thank you. And that last drive-in video, the raunchy one, you kind of are the one that told me to go for it. So.
Oh yeah.
And then you were bitching that it wasn't raunchy enough.
Exactly. I love that one, and I was like, I love the one story that always makes me laugh was that you confiscated all the beer and then you held it for the blowout of the summer.
Hell yeah,
and
man!
Had all we drank free that summer.
That was a good summer, man. It really was. And the statute of limitations is definitely far over. So.
Yeah.
Before I go any further, I do got to acknowledge the one and only Texas is in the house. How you doing, Texas?
What's up, dude?
And welcome to the Yam King. Now, before we're going to go any further, if anybody doesn't know, the Yam thing started by Texas.
Yes.
And he was a guest on one of those talking movie show. It was on the Love Stories That Were Unconventional. Yes. If I'm not mistaken, which was a great episode. If you haven't checked, if you haven't seen that, I'm not above whoring out my content. Go over to Sean's channel or that other channel and check that episode out. It is really entertaining. But there was a point at the very end of the show where Texas just threw out a throwaway comment and said, "Come on, you're a Yam fan, Kenny." And the way he said it, all three of us died for the next 5 minutes. And it became hashtag Yam fan.
Absolutely.
And every chance I got for the next 2 months, it was Yam this, Yam that. Yeah. And now he's the king of yams.
Yes.
So pretty soon he will be the Yam Jedi Master or whatever. But I thought I would clear up anybody who was a little bit mistaken about the Yam thing. So thank you, Texas. It never gets old. Texas. And we're going to get you back on that show again very quickly because you were a great guest. Okay. Earliest movie theater memory.
Oh, man. Movie theater. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. I am in Philadelphia. I grew up in Philadelphia, and we didn't have a lot of money. We watched like a lot of TV. The earliest one I would have to say was Pete's Dragon in the theater. My mom took us the Helen Reddy one. My mom was a huge Helen Reddy fan. We had the remember the 12 for a penny on the Columbia House. The
oh yeah, that album was in our fucking house too.
Yeah, so my mom loved Helen Reddy, the Carpenters and stuff, and she's seen an animated Disney. I'll never forget. She's seen the animated Disney. She goes, "Boys, you want to go skating and then go see Helen Reddy?" And I'm like, who the hell's Helen Reddy? She goes, the girl that you listen to on the radio. And I'm like, oh, because, when you have 8 tracks, you just like throw them on, like that. So it was like we were listening to it, and it was a Disney movie. So that was like the very first like one that we went to the theater with. We very rarely went to the movies like when I was younger. In the 80s, like when I started in high school and stuff, that was a treat to go to the theater.
Right. Yeah. Pete's Dragon, I've got both versions on Blue.
Yeah, I like that movie. I like it. Yeah, it still holds up.
It's a cute movie, and Jim Dale's in it, and he was in a lot of those Disney movies, and he's good. Mickey Rooney's in it. Yeah. Did you see the? I don't like those live action remakes.
I'm not a big fan of
Did you see the remake of Pete's Dragon?
No.
It's fucking dark, man.
Is it really? I know that's the one. Ronnie Howard's daughter's in that, right? Bryce Howard. Yeah. I like her. She's really.
It's cute. Not bad, but it's different. I would not recommend that movie to any kid under, say, 8 or 9.
Oh, okay.
It's seriously dark, man. I mean, there's some moments in that movie that it's like, holy shit, this is a Disney flick. I mean, it's
well, even like some of the early like Dumbo. Oh my god.
Well, but those would break your heart for a different reason, I mean, but we were talking about that before about some of those animated fucking things. Okay, now I know. And we're going to get into this conversation at a little bit later time too. But we just talked about your earliest movie theater memory. Do you remember the first movie you rented on video?
Yes. My dad had won the lottery. This was back in 1984.
Okay.
And he won the lottery. He came home and he goes to my mom, hit the lottery, She was like, oh, yeah, bullshit, like that. And he goes, no. And he pulled out like $400. So my mom goes, we're going to Bamberger's. Bamberger's was like a department store here in Philadelphia. And my mom had one of the credit cards, sort of like a Wanamaker's or a Clover or, something like that. So we went over there and she goes, boys, we're going to get a VCR. And I was like, all right. And I said, well, make sure you get the long one, not the short one. Because my mom didn't understand beta V8, VHS. Yeah. I said, you want the long one. I said, the guy at school told me to get the longer ones because the shorter ones are not going to be around too much longer.
He was right.
And he was right.
Yep.
So we went to Bamberger's, and I think we paid like $360 for this. Yeah. And it wasn't even a top loader. It was one of the ones that you pushed in. And it like went in because my cousin Patty had a top loader, and Mom goes, "No, I don't want that," because she goes, "With 2 boys, you guys idiots will break it," So we got the one that you push in, and you could hear it go, like that. And then for us, what made it even special, it had a remote that you plugged in the front, and it like wound
the wire. Yep.
Yeah, the wire. So it was like, all right. So the first 2 movies that we rented were Private Benjamin and Protocol.
Big Goldie Hawn fans in that house.
My mom loved Goldie Hawn. So
good taste. Goldie Hawn's adorable.
Yes. So those were the first 2. And the store that was a Rite Aid, sort of like Walgreens or something. Yeah. They had 99-cent rentals. So me and my brother, we would come home from school, get off the bus. We had $2.12. We each got 1 movie each time, and we were like doing like trying to hustle at school to get like money, to get like a rent a movie and stuff like that. And one time, like we came off, we found $5 on the street, and I'm like, 2 days worth of rentals. And we're we have to, because they were a $90.06 a piece, with tax.
Right.
So we would go in and we would know the person, her name. 40 some years later, her name was Dolly.
Hello, Dolly.
Hello, Dolly. And, we would go in there and we would just like rent it. We rented every movie that we could possibly. And Fridays were a big night at our house because we got pizza. And we went to video stores and just rented movies.
Yep. That
So,
became the birthday party for me.
oh yeah, that was
I was
huge.
like, instead of having a birthday party, I was like, I want to go to the video store, rent like 3 or 4 movies, order pizza, and have like 4 of my buddies over for a sleepover or whatever, and have the VCR hooked up in the room downstairs, where the other TV was.
Yep.
That way, with no parents, so to speak, and we could watch whatever. And yeah, that's what us geeky band kids did, back in the 80s.
Yeah, that was that was like usually our Friday and Saturday nights were video stores. Just going to video stores
Yeah.
and getting Little Caesars pizza because it was cheap.
Okay, now real quickly before I get into some of the questions from the chat, and believe me, I have lots of questions for you, but I do see some more people that have popped up, so I want to say hello. We've got Molina Long. Patrick dropped out of San Juancito Community College in the 70s.
I actually believe that.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for being here, though. And then, there we go. Jeff, 101 Bronson is
Jeff.
here. Hello, Jeff. Thank you so much. And since Jeff is here, I will take this opportunity right now because, again, we've already established I'm a whore who has no problem plugging his own product. But the next episode of this show, which will be episode 12, on June 14th, 2 weeks from today, same bat time, same bat channel, my very special guest will be Jeff at 101 Bronson, all the way
Jeff.
from Europe. He lives in the Netherlands, and he is a great guy. I met him through Carlos, who was in the chat earlier, and he does a lot of content, the Westerns for Life and the talking movies and such, and he has his own channel, which he does a lot of content on, and he's just a fantastic guy. I cannot wait to get him on here. So, Jeff, thank you so much for being here, buddy. And Roy might have the best advice for you ever.
Okay.
Don't watch Two Girls, One Cup.
Okay. I won't. We had this discussion about a month ago. I probably will never watch it.
And speaking of my European friends, Barry, my good friend Barry from the UK
Barry.
is here. Thank you so much, Bud, for being here. Barry, he's one of my favorite people on YouTube. He's such a great guy. And another one of my favorite people on YouTube, Chester is here. Hello, Chester. Thank you so much for being here. And there is Patrick. Patrick, did you drop out of community college in the 70s? We want to know. Do you have Frozen as well? Actually, yes, Patrick, I do. Would you like to build a snowman? Let's see here. We've got Yam from the UK is here. Hello,
hey,
Yam. Thank you so much. And of course, Yam is here because King Yam is here, so they tend to attract each other here. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, that's it for, and yes, I still see lots of questions. I'll be getting to those soon. I just wanted to make sure everybody got some love real quick. And Kenny, you are one popular son of a bitch, man. We're up to 18 people now and watching live. That might be a personal record. So thank you so much, all of you. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. Okay. Here's another question for you before we get into the questions from the chat. Okay. This doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite movie, but if you think about it, and I want you to think about it for a minute, unless it's something really obvious. Okay. What movie have you watched more times in your life than any other? And approximately how many times?
I've narrowed it down to 3. Now I have to probably Uncle Buck. That's my favorite movie of all time.
I thought that might be the answer. Okay, what are the other 2, if you don't mind me asking?
The other 2 are Star Wars 77,
which makes sense,
and Animal House.
That's my answer.
Those are the 3 because
Animal House is definitely mine.
I was obsessed with Belushi.
Yeah,
I never seen him on Saturday Night Live because I was too young at that point. My mom didn't let us watch that, and I was obsessed with him. I remember going to Rite Aid and seeing the Newsweek with Belushi on the cover with the toga, and said and I was like, Mom, I have to get this. And she goes, do you know who it is? And I said, yeah, it's the guy from Saturday Night Live. Well, how do you know Saturday Night Live? And I'm like, everybody talks about it except for me because
Exactly.
you don't let me watch it. So I had it on my wall. I had it on my wall for years, all through high school and every. I just there was just something about him, and I didn't see Animal House until the '80s.
Yeah.
So and I was just obsessed with him. Like anything that came on about him, I was just obsessed.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that one theatrically. That was my first R-rated movie.
Oh, okay.
Was Animal House, and yeah, that's the one that I've seen more times than any, without a doubt. I mean, I haven't watched that movie in years, and I still, this is no exaggeration, over 300 times.
Yeah, Uncle Buck's probably about like 500, because anytime that comes on, we would have an alert. Me and my brother.
Yeah.
Whenever that was on, we would just like text each other or like call each other and say, Uncle Buck, on this. Even if it was on, because remember on cable, you had like the 8 Stars channels, like Stars Family, Stars Comedy, all that. I mean, there was one time I think I watched it 5 times in one day. Because it was just like, it was like relentlessly on like all the Stars channels, and we were just like, when I watched that, I had ruptured my Achilles tendon, and that was like a really bad time for me, and I just needed something uplifting and just like to concentrate on.
Right.
So anytime, I think I watched that 5 times in one day when I got home from surgery, because I had a cast up to my my groin. I couldn't move. I was bedridden. Yeah. So it was just like, I couldn't do anything. So it was just basically, I just watched TV, and that was the 1999. It was the summer of '99. Britney and Backstreet Boys, and they were always on. They were always on fucking TRL. Hey, the #1 video. I want it that way. Hey, let's Backstreet Boys. Carson Daly, you tool. So it was just like but I was just like watching that stuff like all the time, relentless.
Yeah. Now, me and Sean have something in common, that we've both worked in movie theaters, which I know that you didn't, but you did work in a video store. Yes. Which is something that me and you have in common, because I also worked in a shitty video store. You worked in a good video store, it sounds like, though. Without happy scrappy hero pup coming into the conversation, do you have a favorite video store memory of working there?
It was my first night there. I worked at Movies Unlimited in New Jersey, and they were very upscale. They had like the porn in the back, but they had everything like situated, like Stewart. That's where I got into Godzilla movies on there, because you had to have something that was non-offensive, so you could run in the theater, in the store,
in the video store, yeah.
So my boss would always put like a Godzilla movie or a Doris Day movie or something like that. Well, we were closing up the video store, so my friend, I love her to death, Rose, and we were closing down. They were going out of business. So Rose was like, oh, Ken, what can we put on? And I said, how about Splash? And she goes, oh, I like that. And she goes, because she knows I love John Candy. She goes, oh, okay, that'd be great. Well, there was always ass. Well, that's what we forgot. There was always, we had like 3 TVs. We had like 2 over the counter, and then one like 25-inch, where it was like in the kids section. Okay, so when you plugged it in, all 3 of them, and all we hear is, "Mommy, she's naked," and we're both waiting on people, and they're like, we had like lines, and Rose goes, oh shit, I forgot that, and we were like both at the register, and we laughed, and I'm like, and she goes, she like runs to the back to find the VCR and take it off, and I went to the lady, I said, listen, whatever you rent is free. We're really sorry. And she goes, you know what? She goes, I've watched that 100 times, and I actually forgot about that part too. And I said, and so the little girl comes up and she goes, I won't tell your boss. And I said, well, good. She's the idiot that put it on. And Rose is like going up to the little girl, and we used to give away popcorn and stuff. And she's like, here, take about 8 bags home with you, you know? And she's like, I'm really sorry, honey. And she goes, I've seen my mommy's fanny before. And I was like, oh, great.
I would have been like, is it as nice as Daryl Hannah's?
No, I didn't say that. But oh my God, yeah, that was one. And we had one lady. She used to rent. When Mike from Mike's Blu-ray and DVDs, he did a tribute to Burt Reynolds on his video, and this woman came in and she smelled like she was homeless. She'd come in, and you could smell like the odor because we used to call her Pigpen from Peanuts.
Yeah.
And she'd rent the same 2 movies all the time, Malone and Stick. Wasn't even like, it's
like arguably Burt Reynolds' 2 worst movies.
Yeah. So, and I used to say to her, I said, ma'am, why do you continuously, like, she would like rent them like on a Monday. And then when I'd come back on a Wednesday, she had returned them on Tuesday and then rented them again. And I said, ma'am, why? 2 things. I said, why do you like these 2 movies? And why don't you just buy them? And she goes, oh no, she goes, I just like coming here and seeing you 2 because you guys make me smile. And I was like, but ma'am, we have about 5,000 other movies that you can pick, and she goes, oh no, I'm fine with this.
Hey,
I'm like, hey, to each his own. I was just like, because I even said to her, I said, ma'am, did you ever see Smokey and the Bandit? I said, or Cannonball Run? I said, and I'm like holding up the VHS tape, and I'm like, look, ma'am, Burt Reynolds is in this. And she goes, no, I'll stick with these 2. And Rose would go, you tried, honey. You tried. And I'm like, I just feel bad. She's like spending money that she doesn't have to on these 2 movies all the time.
Well, luckily it wasn't Stroker Ace and fucking City Heat.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 worst Burt Reynolds movies, in my opinion. Yeah, what you said that you had to make sure that you, because I could relate, that you had to make sure you didn't put anything offensive on. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take you even better on that.
Okay.
In addition to working for a mom and pop video store, which more or less had that policy, which is fine, I also worked one Christmas season at Suncoast Motion Picture Company. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Chain? They would only play G-rated or music videos. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I worked there in 89, I think it was. It was either 89 or 90 that Christmas year. Okay. On a loop, my friend, I was forced to watch Milli Vanilli and Hang Tough.
Oh.
Hang Tough. The fucking New Kids on the Block. When one tape would be over, the other would start. When that one would be over, the other would start. And it was like that every fucking day. I worked there for like a month and a half. And it's like,
yeah, I worked at a department store. I was a manager at a department store. And it was Black Friday, and it was the first time, because I was the office manager. I didn't know how to work the front or, anything like that. And the customer service manager goes, Kenny, we're going to put you in Sight and Sound on Black Friday. I was like, yeah, right. She goes, no, we need you for the first hour or 2. And I was like, okay. That first half hour, I had 7 voids, and and people were like, if they went through my line, they smelled discounts because I was giving shit away, unbeknownst to me, because I didn't really know how to work the register.
Right.
And that was the year that the Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Oh God.
And we had to play that disc.
Yeah.
All like on a loop.
Yep.
And the Sight and Sound manager, Charlie, goes, kid, where the fuck is that disc? and it was like, and it was over there, and it was like a promo copy that all the stores got. He got it and had a hammer and broke it. He goes, if I don't have to hear that song, and he's like pounding it. And I'm like, Charlie, what are we going to do for Saturday? And he goes, put on Bing fucking Crosby, kid. I don't care. That's got to go. So
Twisted Sister Christmas.
Yeah, so like that Saturday, because that weekend, everybody worked, unless you were dead. He had like the Bing Crosby, and one of the district managers came in and go, what happened to the Mariah Carey that everybody got? And Charlie goes, somebody stole it. And she was like, oh, I'll work on getting another one. So eventually she did get another one in. But when Caldor had went out of business, so there was a couple of us that got him a Mariah Carey Christmas CD as a going away gift.
Nice.
And he goes, and he just starts laughing. He goes, well, you know what? And every time I hear that song, I think of Charlie. So, because he just got the hammer and like right on the desk, he just started like chopping that up. And like, if you weren't like, thank God I was wearing glasses because there was like splinters of like CD going everywhere.
Nice. All right, let's get to some questions here.
Okay.
And of course, we got to start off with Stacy because Stacy always leaves the first question. Favorite chef or cooking related movie?
Well, being a former chef, thank you, Stacy. I used to love The Frugal Gourmet. He used to come on PBS in the 80s.
I remember that.
Jeff Smith.
Yeah.
And he used to make very relatable stuff. And then when we got the Food Network, now he's a disgraced chef, but I used to love Molto Mario.
Yeah.
I used to love all the different kinds of food that he made and all the stories about Italy that he had. Not being Italian, I'm as Irish as you can get, but I just like the different stories and different origins of the pastas and stuff like that and all that. Yeah, but Mario and Jeff Smith were really good.
How about any kind of food related movie? Do you have a favorite?
I loved Kitchen Confidential that they did. It wasn't a movie. It was a TV show. No Reservations was a movie with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
That was based on the Bourdain. I was obsessed with Anthony Bourdain. He just made things simple. He was like a rock star as a chef, and he just made things simple. And basically, he goes, it's not, and that's basically true. What happens is like I worked at like one of those like squeaky things where you got like foam and like little like
the
thing,
bush,
and
bush.
the bush and stuff like that, and you basically and like so many wasted plates that we in the restaurants were like insane because you would have like everything was like a la carte and you would put things on different plates, and the sous chef would have to put them together and all this stuff, and it was just like, but he's right. At the end of the night, you just want a fucking hot dog or you want a hoagie. We used to go to Pathmark, and me and my buddy who was a dishwasher at night, we'd stop off at Pathmark and get like, foot long hoagies that were like $1.74 that they had like 80% it off, So we would sit at like 3:00 in the morning and eat a hogie.
And I'd rather eat that than the fucking moose and the fucking bush
oh,
as it is.
God. And with this stuff, we had to try everything, and the waitresses had to try everything. And it was just like, they're paying like exorbitant amounts for this food. And basically you go right down the street and get a $4 pizza after eating all that expensive shit.
You know what gourmet really means?
What?
Overpriced and pretentious.
Yeah. Everything was like. I remember the first time I tried caviar. The kitchen manager came over to me and goes, "Oh, you take a little spoon and you put it on a cracker." Now, me being big fat guy, grabbed the caviar and put that shit in the cracker, and he's like, "No, you don't understand." And I'm like, "Oh,
have some salt."
Yeah. Oh my God, I was like, every time I see the scene in Big where I'm like. Like that, I swear to God, that was my reaction. He goes, "I told you not to take a lot." And I'm like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And it was like I was pounding down Mountain Dew, trying to get the taste out of my mouth. You know?
That is the most American thing that has ever been said on this show.
Okay.
I ate some caviar and
counting it down with Mountain Dew. Because I used to on the line from wearing glasses, so you didn't sweat, like, you know, because on the line you're like sweating balls.
Oh my
And it was
god!
like I used to take a bandana and put like lemon slices on there and dip it in water, so like the perspiration didn't get into my glasses and my eyes and stuff like that. So I used to have the plastic pitchers of ice water, and then just like lemons in it, just to like,
yeah.
You know, you burn a lot of calories like in that heat. Like when you're.
I worked in a restaurant once.
Oh, okay.
I get it. I wasn't a cook, but I've worked in a restaurant. I know what it's like.
Oh yeah, and it's like so pretentious shit, and it's like, yeah.
But yeah, just caviar and Mountain Dew, man. That's the most
caviar
American
and
thing. That's the most American thing I've ever heard on this. That's awesome. My question that would be Bourdain for the chef and the menu for the food related movie, because I love the menu, because it totally picks on the pretentious bullshit that you were just talking about, you know, where every course comes and it's got, you know, this, that, and the other. Oh, you don't eat it. You put it on your tongue and let it dissolve on your mouth for the mouthfeel, and I mean, it's all just bullshit.
And it was it's like that show, The Bear. Everybody just like is like.
I've never seen it. I've heard so much about it, but I've never watched it.
Movie. And nobody. I worked in casinos. Nobody goes, yes, chef. Yes, chef. Nobody does that shit. They're like, all right, fuck. Let's get this played out. You know, like that. You know.
Yeah.
They
do it in that movie that I just mentioned, but it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of a satire of that whole culture. You know, I mean, it's supposed to be, you know, over the top and ridiculous. And Ralph Fiennes is awesome in that movie.
Yeah, he is very good in that.
Carlos says, guys, the future of movies, where do you see the next genre taking over at the box office, or a movie series becoming the next big thing?
That's a very good question.
That is a very good question.
I really think, and I sent you guys this a couple weeks ago in our chat, Kevin Smith talking about the future of movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think the movies that we like, the movie.
Uh-oh, did you freeze up, Ken?
Are you froze?
You were froze for a second, but
okay. No,
but you're good now.
Okay. I think the movie experience we had 70s and 80s and 90s is like totally dead, because you can't, unless you have a big blockbuster like the Mission Impossible, people are just going to stay home. I think people have gotten comfortable with staying home and renting it. I mean, like, look, Novocaine, that was like the big movie in March?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it didn't really do much.
It didn't do that much, and I remember Quaid being on every like TV show, doing lots of press for it. And it's a really good movie, and it's
an awesome movie.
Yeah, and it's now on streaming service where I watched it, and it was just like, I don't see, unless it's like a big like Marvel or Star Wars or something like that. I think the movie experience that we had, because the last one I seen was Guardians 3.
Yeah.
And I have absolutely I don't even want to go back to a movie theater, because, you know, it's just like that. We went on a Saturday night at 9:00, and the 8 of us that went were the only people in the whole auditorium on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My main reason why I don't go to I always say go to the show. That's, you know, it's just what I've been saying since I was a kid. But the main reason why I don't go to the theater that much is because, quite honestly, most movies to me that are coming out aren't worth the bother or the price involved, for that matter. Okay. In order to get me to a theater at this point, it's got to be something either with such great visuals that it demands to be seen on a biggest screen possible, or it's something that calls to me personally that I've been wanting for a long time. Like we've been talking about The Long Walk. Okay. Yeah. That's not coming out until September. That's not a big effects movie, this and that and the other. if the reviews are semi-decent on that movie, I will go see that immediately, just because, again, I have such an attachment to that property,
right?
that I've been wanting to see a movie of that literally for almost 40 years.
Mm.
So that one, yeah, I'll go see theatrically if it's, if it continues to look something that it's not a cash grab type, bullshit, PG-13. This movie's definitely rated R from what I've seen. So yeah, I'll probably go see it weekend, opening weekend. But I'm like you. I've actually watched more movies at this point this year, and I'm talking new movies. So movies that were released in 2025. I've seen more 2025 movies this year than I did at this point in 2024 with those movies, and I haven't gone to the cinema once.
Wow. And
unfortunately, well, it depends on your point of view, every one of them I watched on Look.
That's fine. Hey, it's available, and if people were making it available, there's going to be people out there to find it or seek it. You know what I mean?
I watched Sinners last night.
Oh, okay.
Out here in my garage on my tablet. Now, granted, it would have been better on the big screen or even on my TV, but it was there and it was free, and I figured, fuck it. I hooked up my speaker and I watched it, and yeah, it was great. I loved it. I thought it was great. But yeah, I've watched, because I've been writing them down, because at the end of the year, I know we always have our,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm up to 15 movies.
Wow.
From 2025 that I've seen, and I've actually liked them all to a certain degree. There's not one. Actually, there is one on the list that I couldn't get through. I turned it off 80% into the movie Ash. Have you watched that?
No.
That came up on one of these shows, actually. I think it was when Mr. Dan was on here, because Iko Uwais from the Raid movies was in that.
Oh, okay.
And it's a science fiction movie. I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, it wasn't very good. Okay, I want to go through a couple more things here in the chat real quick, and then I'm gonna hit you up with some of my questions that I've got going for you. Holy shit, Kenny, we've already been on here for 40 minutes.
Wow, doesn't seem like that long.
Not at all. Time flies.
Good golly.
I got to get back to my shit here. Okay, but Carlos here has got another great question. Oh, thank you for saying that. Hit the like button. I appreciate that, Carlos. Worst experience in watching a movie at the cinema? I've got an embarrassing one.
Oh, okay. Worst experience. I can't really think of any bad experiences I had. I've walked out of one movie that was just like god awful. Scenes from a Mall with Woody Allen and Bette Midler.
Horrible fucking movie.
Yeah, I literally walked out of that because I love Bette Midler. And I turned down to see Home Alone to see Scenes from a Mall. So I really can't think of any bad experiences I had. You tell yours. The experiences that I've had in the theaters have always been good.
When I was, how old was I? Maybe 12. And I don't even recall the movie. I just remember going. Oh, actually, I do remember the movie.
Oh, okay.
You remember Grizzly Adams?
Yeah, Dan Haggerty.
Yeah. There was speaking of Dan Haggerty, he was also in this movie. There was kind of a Grizzly Adams ripoff movie called Frontier Fremont.
I've never.
It was even a smaller release than that. But Dan Haggerty also played that character. Very similar plot, very similar thing. And that came out like a year or two after Grizzly Adams, okay? I talked my parents into taking me to see it because all the other brothers and sisters were too old for it at that point. And they did. And about halfway through the movie, I farted, but it wasn't a fart. It was a shart.
Oh, wow.
And I immediately felt it. And had to make my way to the bathroom, doing the walk of shame. And it was my first and only experience of throwing a pair of underwear out in a public place.
Oh, wow.
Going commando and this and that. Yeah. you don't forget experiences like that, man. And yeah, that was definitely the worst experience in a cinema,
wow.
in my
Yeah.
opinion. But thank you so much, Carlos, for bringing up
Thanks,
those traumatic
Carlos.
memories. And Roy says, Carlos, your worst experience must have been smelling Nigel's farts. Yeah. Carlos did a video a couple days ago of I think it was about a weekend ago or whatever, where he met up with some of the people in the community over there in the UK.
Oh yeah, I seen that video.
And they were in the bar drinking. Sammy, poor
Oh
Sammy,
yes.
trying to drink Sambuca was painful to watch. But but he kept on talking about how his boy Nigel kept on blasting him out with these horrendous smelling farts, clearing out, the entire rooms and shit. So let's see here. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody, and then I'm gonna get back into my stuff. Oh yeah, I see Carlos is already putting down. All right, Carlos. I'm giving Carlos all the love, but this is great. We got to do this. Movie Faceoffs with Carlos. He's famous for these. So here you go, Kenny.
All right.
Movie Faceoff. E.T. versus Starman.
Starman.
Temple of Doom versus Last Crusade.
Last Crusade.
Platoon versus Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, that one's hard. I would say Private Ryan. That first 10 minutes, just like, but there's so much good stuff in Platoon too. I'm going to stick with Private Ryan.
I will go with E.T., although I love Starman. I'll go with Last Crusade, even though I love Temple of Doom. And yeah, the third one's definitely the hardest. I'll go with Private Ryan by a hair.
Yeah.
Just by a hair. But great one,
That's
Carlos.
a great question, Carlos.
And before I get into my next question, I just want to give some other answers here. Blue Roy says Starman, Last Crusade, and Platoon. Jeff says E.T., Last Crusade, and Platoon. Adam says difficult choices there. Haha. It's like, yeah, that's what he does. He's one of those bastards who likes to see people squirm on camera there, Adam.
He makes it really difficult for you.
Words and Pictures is here. Thank you so much for being here.
Words and
I appreciate
Pictures.
that. Bell says, last time I saw E.T., I didn't have any pubes. Oh, was that when you shaved last week? See, I love Barry. Sean says, you're a whore with a heart of gold, Jim. That's why we love you. Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate that, buddy. And Jeff says, looking forward to being on the show. Yeah, I am as well, Jeff. That's going to be a great episode. And I'm going to be plugging that again towards the end. Carlos says, don't look up Blue Waffle either.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And we're going to go with another movie matchup, but this time it's going to be from Stacy.
Okay, Stacy.
And Stacy says, movie matchup, Arachnophobia versus Eight-Legged Freaks.
Eight-Legged Freaks.
I'll go with Arachnophobia on that one.
I like how just campy Eight-Legged Freaks.
Oh, yeah.
Freaks is.
But I'll go with Arachnophobia just because of the John Goodman. He's not in it very much, but he's so damn funny in that movie. Days of Thunder versus Minority Report.
Days of Thunder.
Minority Report, really?
Oh, I love Days of Thunder.
I fucking hate Days of Thunder.
Oh, okay. I remember we went to see that in the movies when it came out, and our seats like literally shook. And if you know me, having a seat shake with me sitting in it, that takes a lot of things to happen. So that was just like, it was
Sandra
just
Bullock.
Like,
she make you shake.
Oh.
Did you see how he stopped like a deer in the headlights on
Yeah. Sandra.
Okay, we got one more here.
All right.
From Roy. And this is a good question.
Okay,
I like
Roy.
this. Roy says, favorite UK actor, you cannot say Michael Caine.
Okay.
How about past and present?
Okay. Well, I do. I don't know if he's from the UK, so you might help me with this. Um, I love Clive Owen.
Yeah.
I love.
I believe Clive Owen is British.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe so. I believe so. I might be mistaken, but
Yeah,
Clive Owen's awesome.
Clive Owen's great, and Statham. Jesus. I love Jason. I love Jason Statham movie. I think the movies he makes with Guy Ritchie are fun. I mean, listen, you're not gonna, the world's not gonna stop, with a Jason Statham movie. But I think like Aladdin, the one with Will Smith, Guy Ritchie really made that. Oh, okay. Guy Ritchie really made that a lot more entertaining than it should have been.
Yeah.
Especially in the first 15 minutes with the sequence like at the market and stuff with Aladdin escaping.
Mm-hmm.
And another one that I really liked of Guy Ritchie's movies, because I love Guy Ritchie movies, is if the guy would have just not gone nuts, Man from U.N.C.L.E. I love that fucking movie. I thought Army Hammer was going to be.
Yeah, I know you're a fan of Army Hammer.
Yeah, what a disappointment. Yeah.
No, my answer to that, Roy, and great question, Roy, by the way.
That's a great question. Thank you, Roy.
Present actor would be Gary Oldman. I love Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
But past, like my all-time favorite British actor for some reason, with the possible exception of Michael Caine, but you said I couldn't say Michael Caine, you bastard. David Warner. I fucking loved David Warner. He was one of those character actors who stole every movie he was ever in, so great question, Roy. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right, before we go into any more with the chat, because I got to get into some of my stuff, I've barely scratched it. We're going to play our first game of the day, my friend. Top three. Right. Okay?
Top three.
And what I will do is I will ask you the top three of whatever, in whatever genre, and it's just off the top of your head. You're not going to be held to it, okay? I just want you to whatever comes to mind, okay? Because a lot of the guests on here, you think that, they're taking their SATs. I ask them this shit, and they're like, oh my God, you're putting me on the spot. It's like, no, just top of your head, okay? Nobody's going to make fun of you unless, well, I might make fun of you, but that's okay. So I have never asked this one to any guest before you. So you should be honored about this one.
I am thoroughly honored.
Top three rom-coms.
Ooh. Oh, this is.
See? You're doing exactly what
okay. First one. First, why you were sleeping.
Okay.
Second one is My Best Friend's Wedding with Julia Roberts.
Yep.
And third one, I love Miss Congeniality.
Okay. I knew there'd be lots of Sandra.
You knew Sandra Bullock was
going to be on there. I knew there'd be lots of Sandra love in that. Yeah. I've never asked this one either.
Okay.
Top three tearjerkers.
Oh, okay. Field of Dreams. Every boy with that. There's one I always bring this one up, and it's not a tearjerker, but it always gets to me. Is when before he goes on to the in City Slickers, when Billy Crystal asks his wife's permission to go on this with that, and he said, "Have you ever peaked when you were 19?"
Yeah,
and that hit you like a load of bricks, because I was a chef making damn good money. I got hurt, and I had to find another career, and it was just like,
I hear you.
Yeah, so it was like that one just like makes me weep every time.
That's a valid answer.
Yeah.
And your third one,
Brian's song. Oh my God.
Oh God, yeah.
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 Brian.
That's the first time I ever saw my father cry.
Really?
Was watching that fucking thing on TV when it was a TV movie, because that was a TV movie.
Yeah.
And then they released it, on video and cable and everything else. But any of the European people that don't know what we're talking about, Brian's Song was a movie with James Caan and Billy D. Williams.
Billy D.
and it was based on a true story about two guys that played together on the Chicago Bears football team. Turn your fucking phone off, Your Majesty.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. Take it if you got to.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, Brian Son's a great pick. It really is.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that until you mentioned it. Now I'm tearing up just thinking about it, you bastard, because I got that music playing in my head. Everybody should have a friend like Brian Piccolo.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay. 3 favorite raunchy comedies.
Porky's, Revenge of the Nerds, and Bachelor Party.
Yeah, I was waiting for Bachelor Party.
Yeah, Bachelor Party.
Is that the footlong?
And then some.
I was waiting for you to say that. Okay. Don't leave me hanging, man. Okay. Top 3 sci-fi.
Ooh.
And they could be either sci-fi action, sci-fi cerebral, whatever. Because a lot of people get confused by that. So sci-fi covers a lot of shit.
All right. Star Wars is number 1. Life Force.
I would expect nothing less from the King of Yams. Great answer.
Life Force and oh God. Oh, Total Recall. Love Total Recall.
Triple Yams. All right.
Yeah.
And the last top 3 action movies.
All right. Okay. Die Hard. A movie that doesn't get much love. Running Man.
Yeah.
I love Running Man. And the other one, this movie always. I love this movie. I love Out for Justice with Steven Seagal. The pool room scene.
Barry, you just made Barry very happy.
Oh, okay. The pool room scene. This is your reward. I'm looking for the guy who did Richie Lupo.
Yeah. You will never find a bigger Seagal fan than Barry. Barry fucking loves Seagal. So.
Thanks, Craig. I love those early part of the 90s Seagal movies. Man, he had a run.
Under Siege is awesome. I love Under Siege.
Yeah, Under Siege. Yeah, with your boy Crazy Gary Busey.
Crazy Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So
now you'll notice, because I have asked every guest so far top 3 horror movies, but I did not ask that of you. And the reason why, and I'm telling the audience this instead of you, okay, because you're relatively new to the horror genre, as you will be the first to admit, okay? So you've only been watching horror movies for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And that's fine. Okay. I mean, late to the party is better than never coming to the party. Okay. That's the way I look at it. So in those 2 years, since you've gotten into the horror genre, is there one movie that you would say is the scariest that, you know, that freaked you out more than any other one?
Yeah. Sean turned me into a movie that was on Shudder with George C. Scott. The Changeling with the ball.
Hell yeah, that fucking
ball,
my
God. I watched that at 1:00 in the morning. Oh, I was up. I could not sleep. Wow, yeah that movie. Wow.
The first time I watched that movie was down in the basement of my house when I was a kid, when it first hit cable.
Oh, man.
So I was about 14 or so. And right next to the room in the basement was where the water softener was for the fucking house.
Oh,
and
wow.
It kicked on right about the time that ball started coming down the stairs with George C. Scott. And I watched that movie. It was like 3:00 in the morning. It scared the fucking bejesus out of me. Yeah. I love that movie. Great pick.
Yeah, that one. And we had rent when I was cooking my. Hold on for a second. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, man.
I'm sorry. I
it's all
apologize.
Good. No problem. So we'll do this right now. until Kenny comes back. Now that'll give me an opportunity to scan through some more of the credits or comments before he gets here. And also, while we got a break, I want to take another moment to plug some of our content. This coming Tuesday, June 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time will be the next live episode of Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim. You can find that. Oh, Kenny's back, so I'll add him back to the stage. But anyways, you can find that live either on the Talking Movies channel, which is the Talking Movies 2024, or you can find that at Sean's channel at Movie Assault. That will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Our very special guest will be Brian at the Horror Punk, and I'm going to leave all the information. That one's going to be about some of our favorite slasher films. So tune in at that point, and that's going to be a really fun episode. Everything good, Ken?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I live in a house that's back from my mailbox,
Uh-huh.
so my neighbor wanted to make sure they weren't stolen.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Living here in Philadelphia.
Yeah. I hear you. But no, it's all good. It's all good. Anyways, getting back to the horror thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite horror movie that you've seen so far?
Well, you know.
And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be like something that scared you or whatever. Just something that's considered a horror movie that you were like, man, that was entertaining. I want to watch that again. You know, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay. I'd probably say Freddy 3, Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors.
Oh, I love that. We went to see that in the movies at a church. Like our church youth group went to see Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. We went to see that, and I was back in the 80s when they used to play the videos before, you go and see like 2 videos before, and we went in there and they played the Dokken Dream Warriors theme that we had seen, and the whole theater was singing it like along during the thing. And the Freddy one, because I seen Nightmare like on video when that came out on video, but I didn't see 2. But the third one we went to see, where he raised up and he goes, "Where's the bourbon, bitch?" That always cracks me the hell up every time, and that's my favorite Freddy movie. I like that better than the first one.
Yeah, see, Dream Warriors to me is the best one outside of the original. Okay.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about it on the show on Tuesday. But yeah, it's pretty well known. Everybody who knows me, anyways, knows my relationship with the original Elm Street. I just adore that fucking movie. So.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of horror, Larry the Horror Cat is here. Hello.
Hey,
Thank
Larry.
you so much, Larry, for being here. Appreciate it, buddy. Want to make sure I don't miss any more here real quickly. We got lots of comments. We got lots of people. It's great.
Cool.
Oh, here we go. My good friend Daniel from Frank's Collecting Castle is here. Hey, Daniel, how's it going, buddy? Thank you so much for being here. See, all my former guests are showing up. Barry says, I can imagine Jim flipping burgers with a spliff hanging out of his mouth. I can honestly say I have never worked in a fast food place in my life. So there you go. My first job was that movie theater job, and I kept that sucker for a decade. I struck the mother load with that job.
Wow, good job.
No, the pay sucked, but being the movie geek that I am, it had great benefits. You know what I mean? So I didn't pay for anything. And yes, the next guest star is Jeff. See, they can't wait for you, Jeff. And some answers from Roy here.
All right, Roy.
Texas says that he'll go with Tom Hardy. Yeah, great actor.
Yeah, Hardy's really good.
And Jeff says Sean Connery. Hell yeah. And let's go. And Carlos has got another movie face-off, making them tough as possible, he says. Escape from New York versus Demolition Man. I know what you're going to say on that one.
Escape from New York.
Oh, shit.
Oh, okay. Sandra's in it, and that's when I first known and grew to love her because of Demolition Man.
Yeah,
but Escape from New York, Snake Plissken is like, no, he's
good for
Kurt
you,
Russell,
man.
Yeah.
Good for you. You chose the correct answer.
You chose wisely.
Running Scared versus Tango and Cash.
Oh, Running Scared.
Yep, absolutely. I can't stand Tango and Cash. Most people love that movie.
I like it because Terry Hatcher's in it, but
that's why you're the Yam King. I forgot.
I always have like a, I always have like I remember going. I bought like because this is how stupid I am. Terry Hatcher was on the Love Boat and she loved Gopher. She was a Love Boat mermaid. She was in the dance team. So I was like, I remember watching it. I'm like, I love this girl, And then it was like everything that she like. I was like obsessed with watching her. Yeah.
Wow. I love you, Kenny. You're awesome.
My mind, as my mom says, Kenny's mind works differently than others.
Yep. Oh man. Unlawful Entry versus Pacific Heights.
Pacific Heights.
Oh, to me, that's the toughest of the three.
Yeah.
That's the toughest
Unlawful,
of the three.
They're both great movies.
Yeah,
and Madeline Stowe is, man, she's.
Yeah, you got Madeline Stowe in one, and you got Melanie Griffith in the other.
Yeah. I always had a thing for Melanie Griffith, though. I don't know. I seen her in a early Paul Newman movie, Harper.
Yeah. Man,
now I know why Don Johnson went goo goo gaga over her, man. Let me tell you.
Check her out in Something Wild.
Oh yeah, I seen that with that's if you ask me my favorite actor, Jeff Daniels. He's my favorite. My favorite.
Ray Liotta. That's the first movie I ever saw Ray Liotta in.
Okay.
He jumps off the fucking screen in that movie. I mean, he is so good in that movie.
The first movie I ever seen, you're gonna laugh at this. The first movie I ever seen Ray Liotta in was Lonely Lady with Pia Zadora. Where there's a very uncomfortable scene where he helps her out with a hose, and all you hear is like throughout the song. I'm telling you, we had Prism. Mr. Dan will know this in Philly. It was like a HBO. It was.
I know what the movie is, but I've never watched it.
And all you hear is the theme song is like "Lonely Lady."
Jesus Christ, man.
And she's literally getting raped by a hose, and all you hear is "Lonely Lady."
Oh my god, I'm gonna get canceled here.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to get that graphic, but it was just like, you had to the scene, and it was like we were like watching it in high school, and it was just like, are they serious with this? Like, oh. God, yeah, you have to pick. Unfortunately, you can't find that here in America to watch because I'd buy it in a second if I could find it.
Yeah, I bet. Watching Pia Zadora get a colonic.
Yeah, that's the first thing I seen Ray Liotta in, and then I seen him in.
I wasn't even aware he was in that.
Oh yeah, he plays the guy who does that to her.
Yeah, I mean seriously, I thought all this time that Something Wild was his debut because that was literally the first thing I ever saw him in, and. Yeah, like I said, he's phenomenal in that movie.
I'll have to send you the link of the song so you can hear it, and that basically loops throughout every bad thing that happens to her. They play that song and they just bring it up to 11.
It's like Too Young to Die, Never Too Young to Die with John Stamos and Vanity and Gene Simmons. Stargrove, all fucking movie, man. Stargrove. And yeah, I got to mention this, Carlos. Happy 95th birthday to the living legend Clint Eastwood. Absolutely. And R.I.P. Loretta Swit, who passed away yesterday.
Yes.
But friggin' Clint Eastwood is definitely a living legend, and hopefully he lives another, however long. But he's great. And I forgot. Jeff brought up another great Burt Reynolds film. Well, I don't know. I mean, Rent-A-Cop still exists. Yeah, I forgot about that piece of shit. I put that one out of my mind, Jeff. Thank you very much. Yam says, back to the question of what film that we have seen the most. Originally, I thought it was Scarface. Seen that about 300 times, but it actually might be Grease from 1978, which must be more. Roy is a big fan of Grease. He loves that movie.
I'm a huge fan of Grease. Our family used to have a Grease text where anytime Grease, it was like the same with Uncle Buck for me and my brother.
I saw Grease at least a dozen times theatrically as a kid. I mean, that movie was a huge hit.
Oh, you couldn't go
Because
anywhere.
there's a period where I got addicted to mob films, especially Scarface, and kept watching it on repeat after repeat after repeat. Yeah. I had the double VHS tape of Scarface. You had to break it up all the time. God damn, I hate these new the way you have to deal with these new the comments on the StreamYard. They changed it and it really sucks. Let's see here. He's already a legend. Hell yeah. Texas says, I worked in a couple of record stores and we did rentals, and this woman would come up with horror films and say, is this nice? My response was, well, if you consider dismemberment and killing nice, then it's for you. Is this nice? Is it safe?
Is it safe?
Okay, now Patrick reached out on Instagram to me to ask you this question, and I told him, hey, get your ass in the chat and ask him yourself. So he is, and good for him. He says, Sean, but I'll ask you, Kenny, what are your 5 favorite IFC films if you have that many? Because I couldn't answer this question. I'm not a huge fan, but I know you guys are.
Yeah, I like IFC movies. There's one that I told everybody about to watch that I really liked with Felicity Jones. I can't. My mind just totally went blank on that now. Yeah. Oh, Patrick, I'll message you about that because my mind just totally went blank. All I can think about is Pia Zadora.
Kenny, you're good at telling a story.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
And Barry says, Kenny, can you give my mother-in-law some cooking tips?
Sure.
Let's see here. Patrick says, No Reservations is a very good film. It's billed as a comedy, but it's a drama and a damn good one as well. I'm not aware of it. Kenny, if you enjoy restaurant fiction, I might recommend Midnight Diner. Japanese tradition restaurant in modern Tokyo, offbeat comedy drama. IMDb 8.6. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh, and TV show, I guess. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we already saw the one about me flipping burgers. Although now Jeff has a mental image of me flipping burgers with a spliff in my mouth. Let's see here. Dan says, Danny McBride just wrote an interesting article about how a lot of the theaters need major upgrades apart from some big cities. Well, I know Kevin Smith was talking the other day that, one of the reasons why movie grosses are down is because there's less seats.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got the big ass Barca loungers and, and that is true. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It is absolutely true. Chester, I just came to show it. Thank you so much, Chester. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chester. I appreciate it.
You're a great guy. You really are. Daniel from Frank's Collecting Castle says, I watched the remake of Speak No Evil and it was the shits. Watch the original. So good. The director was so fucking angry about the stupid remake. Yeah, I've not seen the remake, but I have seen the original, Daniel, and that movie is unbelievable. It's dark, man. It's good. It's really good. Frontier Fremont. See, I knew Patrick would remember that show, or that movie, rather. It looks shitty in the trailers. Oh, here we go. Greg says, Full Metal Jacket versus Hamburger Hill. I like them both.
I like them both, too. See, Full Metal Jacket to me is 2 movies.
Yeah, it is.
Hamburger Hill is just a really, really underrated. I remember when I was at the video store, that was like one of my staff picks. Kenny's staff picks, Hamburger Hill.
Yeah.
I would go Hamburger Hill. I mean, Full Metal Jacket's sort of like the Tarantino movie he did with From Dusk Till Dawn. With Clooney. It's 2 different movies. I mean, because once you get to the Salma Hayek part, it just goes off into another movie.
Pussy, pussy, pussy.
Yeah.
I'll go with Full Metal Jacket, but only by a hair.
Oh, okay.
Mainly because of Arlie Ermy and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah,
is Private Pile.
Scenery. Yeah,
those two are so good. But I've always said that Full Metal Jacket is basically the Boys and Company see a decade later.
Oh, okay.
Because it's Arlie Ermy, and it's two movies. Just like it's structurally, it's first half is boot camp, second half is Vietnam, just like Full Metal Jacket is.
Right.
So, but thank you so much, Greg.
Yeah, thank you, Greg.
And his answer is Full Metal Jacket, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Let me get back to some of my other stuff here.
Okay.
Because we're just flying by on time here.
Wow.
We're gonna play my second game of the day, and that is
Okay.
called Overrated, Underrated. This is a personal favorite of mine.
Okay.
I want you to come up with a movie, and again, off the top of your head, that everybody seems to think is just great, and you're like, what? This movie ain't great. As a matter of fact, I think it's kind of a piece of shit.
Okay.
And vice versa. Where people think this movie sucks, and you're like, no, you're wrong. This movie's great. That's your underrated. But it can't be any kind of cheesy asylum type movie in either case.
Oh,
it's
no.
It's got to be major studio releases or major streaming releases. So
people are going to kill me in the comments for this. I wasn't a big fan of the Pacino Scarface.
Okay, and why?
Sorry.
And why?
I just didn't care for it. I thought it was just overacting by Pacino. He had that like, kind of like
he's coked out, man.
Yeah, I just didn't. Well, never having taken any drugs in my life, other than Percocets for my surgeries, I just didn't understand, the whole thing. Like after seeing like how like laid back like The Godfather was, yeah, it's two different organizations. But I didn't. I don't know. I just never saw the hype in that movie.
Fair enough. I know Patrick's not a big fan of that movie either.
Oh, okay. And the underrated one, and you're gonna laugh at me, is I Come in Peace.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing because I like that movie.
I like that movie, and if you look at it, because I just watched it again yesterday for the first time since I rented the hell out of that at the video store, and basically I watched the special features. Basically, none of that was CGI. This was all done before CGI, and all the explosions were. And it's funny if you have. I bought it on Hamilton Book, not a sponsor, and I watched the director. The director had the director, his son, his mom, and his dad working in that movie as all stunt people.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and if you looked at his filmography, the director, he did Action Jackson. He did one of Brian Bosworth's beautiful movies, Stone Cold.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
I love that fucking movie.
That movie should have won an Oscar just for the mullet.
Just the mullet. Up on the bike. Oh, man, it's just so good. But, yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. And if you watched it, I mean, a lot of it comes off, it's very 80s, like very 90s, in that portion. But it is a very good story. And it only cost $6 million to make.
Yeah. No, that movie's entertaining as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Well, real quickly, I got to acknowledge Sarah's here. Hello, Sarah.
Hey,
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And we've got another movie face-off before I get into my next game here, because again, I mean, I can't get over how much the time's flying here.
I know.
Carlos here. Smokey versus the Bandit versus Cannonball Run. To me, that's a no-brainer. I got to go with Smokey and the Bandit without even thinking about it.
All right. This is very controversial, but I'm going to go with Captain Chaos over you sums of bitches. Yeah. I'm going to go with Cannonball Run. I seen Cannonball Run before I seen Smokey and the Bandit. So,
yeah. See, I saw Smokey and the Bandit at the drive-in, or no,
Oh, okay.
at a regular theater, as a matter of fact. And that was the same summer as Star Wars. And I was 10. And at the end of that year, if I couldn't be Luke Skywalker, I wanted to be Burt Reynolds as a kid. You know, I mean, they were like the two coolest people on earth in my head at that moment. So yeah, I got to go with Smokey and the Bandit. Stakeout versus Down and Out in Beverly Hills. That's a good one. Yeah, I'll go with Stakeout as well, but they're both really good. Throw Mama from the Train versus City Slickers.
City Slickers. Although Throw Mama from the Train is very dark comedy, but City Slickers, there's something about that movie that's just so darn good.
I'll go with City Slickers as well by a hair because I like both of those movies.
Yeah, good job, Carlos. They were very good.
Yeah, ones. Carlos is really good about that stuff. Sarah says Full Metal Jacket for her. She's never heard of Hamburger Hill. Hamburger Hill is a really good movie, Sarah. It's a very good movie, but it's like once it starts, it don't stop.
No,
it's just
constantly going.
Yeah. So, and Mike is here. Hello, Mike. How's it going, buddy? Thank you so much. Loved your video the other day of going to half price in the Burt Reynolds one. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see here. And Carlos says, I know my brother Jeff adores Pacino and Scarface, and it's a great one, but Pacino's Cuban Spanish is a bit off.
I don't know. Maybe I seen that because it was later that I seen it, and it was just like I didn't get the whole, I didn't get the whole big thing.
And Jeff says, I come in peace, a.k.a. Dark Angel is one of Dolph's best for sure.
It is.
Absolutely. Sean says, Smokey, Stakeout, and City Slickers.
City Slickers.
Absolutely. And Carlos says, Smokey, Stakeout by a whisker, and I got to Throw Mama, even though most would probably say City Slickers. The reason why I say City Slickers is mainly because of that Jack Palance part is Curly. He's just as great as Ann Ramsey is in Throw Mama.
Yeah.
Because she is. He's
more insane.
She's the best thing in that movie. Okay. But Jack Palance, like I said, he won an Oscar for that part. And he's terrific in that part.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to play another game here.
Okay.
Best Decade, where
80s.
I give you a film genre and you tell me what you think the best decade for that genre.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And it could be any decade. So you can go all the way back to the start of film, all the way up to this decade if you'd like.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We're not limiting it to only 70s, 80s, that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, in your opinion, and after you give the answer, explain why. Okay. So, in your opinion, best decade for comedy films?
I'd say 70s because there was so many good ones out there. You had all the gut of Mel Brooks movies. You had one of my underrated comedies. I love What's Up, Doc with Barbara Streisand. Just like the very different movies that like these film people were making back with just like Carnal Knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that were like they were very fast. They were very fascinating back then. But I just 80s. I grew up and I was just but a lot of the 80s stuff, and I love all of them, were more raunchy comedies, where the 70s were more
witty,
smarter and witty with their comedies.
Nice, good answer. Okay. Best decade for action?
I'd have to say the 80s. I mean, because you had Arnold, Van Damme, Stallone, Lundgren. Dolph made a lot of movies back then that were, but just even like you could just bring up all canon movies. The Bronson the Bronson bad,
hey, tough guy.
Yeah, the Death Wish movies, like Clint Eastwood did Foxfire. I really like it. Firefox. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Nintendo game. Remember Star Fox?
Yeah.
the Nintendo 64. But he did, he did that one, Firefox. Yeah, I just like them, and even like the Bond movies in the '80s with Moore.
Yeah.
They were really good.
Okay. How about sci-fi?
I'd have to '70s just for Star Wars alone.
Yeah.
Then you had Battlestar Galactica, which is really good. Logan's Run. Um, Buck Rogers. I was a big Buck Rogers fan. Aaron Gray in that.
Aaron Gray looked mighty fine in that
in the
spacesuit.
spandex.
Yeah.
And I was infatuated. My mom used to do Avon off time, and I remember I had a Cylon Warriors. Me and my brother were obsessed with the Cylon Warriors. Yeah. It was just like
Airman alert. Airman alert.
Yeah. It was so good.
Okay, this one might be tough.
All right.
Best decades for kids movies.
I would say the '70s, because a lot of the movies like '70s, you had like Hot Lead and Cold Feet. Jim Gardner made one Disney movie that was like cowboy, or he was basically a wrangler on a ranch. We watched that one a lot. Oh God, like the Swiss Family Robinson movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say '70s. We were a big, as you could tell, we were a huge Disney fan. Wonderful World of Disney. You know, we watched a lot of those movies.
Wonderful World of Disney right after Mutual Omaha presents Wild Kingdom.
Yeah. Marlon Perkins.
Put that poor old bastard out in the middle of the jungle. No, good answers. Good answers. Okay. Real quickly here, get back to the comments here real fast here. Yam says, I'm very old-fashioned in many ways, from music to films. Also, my favorite comedies are the 30s through the 60s. Also, I love American teleseries. I love Lucy with the gorgeous Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yam loves the old screwball stuff. We've talked about that before. 30s, 40s because of the Three Stooges, as far as the comedy goes, I'm assuming. For a decade, I got to go with 1960s, as most of his comedy films are in the 60s, and he's my favorite actor. Also, 1910s with Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. Hell yeah. Buster Keaton was just, he doesn't get the respect he deserves.
Now, Yam, was Doris Day and Jerry Lewis big over in Europe? Because that was another. See, we basically got dictated what we were watching by my mom, and my mom loved Doris Day movies and Jerry Lewis movies. So it was basically like, the '60s, like especially like the Rock Hudson movies that she did, like one of my favorite rom-coms, and I should have brought that one up, was Thrill of It All with Doris Day and James Garner. It's just like a screwball comedy kind of thing, and Carl Reiner directed it. And the funny thing is, all the scenes that they do, like the live-in commercials and stuff, when she's doing them, they're the same actors, and the kids are all in on the joke basically, because they're like, it's just the same actors, just a different setting, because they're having a sci-fi one, and they're using the same sets basically. So it's like a sci-fi, a western one, and like a modern day, and the kids are going, this was just the same one last week with different we're having cowboys this week. So that's pretty funny. Thrill of It All is a good Doris Day movie if you haven't seen that one.
Respect Chuck in the 80s. Yeah.
I do. The Chuck Norris. I just did a review of Chuck Norris Delta Force, and Jim's comment was right. Cheese fest all the way. It was so good. But I loved it. I sat here and I enjoyed every bit of it. Yeah, Chuck Norris made a lot of great movies.
Yeah, I think he was talking about Bronson, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was Chuck Norris. Yeah.
Chuck was fun in the 80s. Yeah, because of the Canon Charles Bronson movies.
Yeah, I like both of them.
Best decade for kids talk has got to be the 90s. Matilda's, Little Rascals, The Sandlot, Kids, Harriet the Spy, Harry and the Hendersons. Harry and the Hendersons was the 80s, actually.
Yeah.
See, now I'm surprised you guys didn't think of, like, I would have gone with, like, the 50s just because of the Disney cartoons. You know, the 30s through up, 30s, 40s, and 50s. It was all Disney animation and shit.
Yeah.
You know, those things are, like, gold. But, yeah, 70s is actually a good answer, though, too, because those Disney movies, I mean, you remember Super Dad?
Oh, yeah. My favorite one from that is the Apple Dumpling Gangs with
Don
and
Knotts
and Don Knotts, and
yeah.
Who could forget Gus, the field goal kicking mule. I mean, we were obsessed with watching that, and especially how bad my Eagles were in the 70s. We used to say, "Can we get Gus out there to kick a fucking field goal for the Eagles?"
Yeah, no kidding. No, Kurt Russell was in a lot of those movies back in the day. You know, the computer with tennis shoes. And the strongest man alive or whatever.
Boy.
Well, the world's strongest kid or whatever, because the world's greatest athlete was Jan Michael Vincent, who they had to find on an African island.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Disney deported the white Africans before Trump did.
Oh wow. Wow.
Sorry, that's probably the most political thing I've ever said on this show, and that was a joke. So hopefully nobody gets upset. I thought it was kind of a good joke. But,
yeah.
Hey. Yam says Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis back in the day is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Jerry Lewis was really big in France.
Yeah.
But Barefoot Executive. There you go. Yeah. How could we forget that?
And I didn't, and this is the honest God truth, until I worked at the video store, I didn't know Fred McMurray was a serious actor because I had seen him on. Yeah, I didn't realize that because, you see him in Flubber and Absent Minded Professor, and then you see My Three Sons.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw My Three Sons. That was the first thing that I remember Fred McMurray in, but Double Indemnity.
Yeah, well, that was...
it's like, holy shit,
I had rented that.
That blew my mind.
Yeah, I was like... And I came back the next day, and I said to my manager, I said, My Three Sons' dad's an actor? And he goes, seriously, you didn't know that? I'm like, yeah, fucking Flubber. Like that. I looked at... And he knew I wasn't lying because I had no idea he was a serious actor.
Yeah.
I thought
there's a whole generation that doesn't know that Leslie Nielsen was a serious actor. They know him from the Naked Gun movies and goofy shit like that,
Well, I didn't know Elliot Gould was a big actor either.
Oh, Elliot Gould was a superstar back in the 70s.
Yeah, in the 70s, yeah.
Yeah, big time. Hey, let's see here. I just noticed some. Oop, Gareth is here. Hello, Gareth.
Hey, Gareth.
Thank you so much for being here, bud. Thank you. And Gareth, I am going to be reaching out to you soon. I definitely want you on here soon.
Yeah, I like Gareth's video, and I watched it yesterday with the Vanilla Ice, and that's like one of my...
When I saw that
thing,
I immediately thought of you. I was like, oh, Kenny, you got to get on there, man.
Gareth, a little backstory to that really quick. We went to see it opening day. There was 3 people in the theater. Me, my buddy Jimmy, and my brother. We went to see it opening day. It was... And the guy comes in to clean up and he sits there. He goes, how is this? And I said, it's a piece of shit, but you can't tear yourself away from it. Yep.
I still have not watched that piece of shit. And
it's so good. It's so good.
I will not.
Words to live by. Drop that 0 and get with the hero. Yep. And you have to wait for the yep.
Dan says in the world's greatest athlete, they went to Africa to find Jan Michael Vincent and a tiger. Neither were from Africa.
That's a great point, Dan.
That's awesome. Okay, Greg says, John Candy versus Rick Moranis versus Robin Williams.
You know who I'm going with. John Candy.
Yeah, I got to go with Robin Williams.
Okay. Well, see, I think if Candy would have lived, I think he would have got more serious roles, especially after he did JFK.
Well, see, I got to go with Robin Williams. It's got nothing to do with his acting. It's all about him being a stand-up, because he was a stand-up comedian, and when he was on, he was one of the funniest ones of all time.
Yeah.
So when he became an actor, it was kind of surprising at the time. A lot of people, again, they know him as an actor, not a stand-up. He started off as a comedian, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he went to Juilliard and was trained to be an actor, but he made his bones as a comedian before he became an actor, you know. So great question, Greg.
Yeah, it's a great question, Greg.
Let's see here. And Dan says Fred McMurray was a big box office draw for a while. Yeah, he was.
I didn't know that. And
people saying hello back and forth. Yam says greatest male comedy actors for me are Norman Wisdom, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and Harold Lloyd. For women, females, Lucille Ball is the greatest. Lucille Ball was, like, you know, one of the greatest of all times, no doubt. Let's see here. Making sure I did not miss anything here. Gareth says has 20 montages, and then Jeff says that's more than Rocky IV. Rocky IV should be called Montage the movie. I mean, it really should be. I've been saying that forever. I mean, and yeah, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I fucking hate Rocky IV. I loved it. I loved it back in the day. I saw that thing like 3 times theatrically. Okay.
Oh, wow.
But and same thing with Rocky III. I don't hate that one as much, but I'm not a big fan of that one either. I mean, the only Rocky movies I truly love now are the first 2. Yeah. Everything after it, I loved at the time, but as the years have gone by, it's like, nah, I'll take the Rambo movies over the Rocky movies.
See, with Rocky, there's only 4 of them for me. I didn't care for like the other ones. The Creed movies were okay.
I've never seen the Creed ones.
Okay, the the first Creed especially. That's another one. That's another tearjerker one that you get a little misty-eyed. But I think as you get older, you get more sentimental with movies, because you grew up with you grew up with these people, and you grew up with the characters. And after that, it's just like, you know, because it's like I remember watching Creed, and it was just like, wow, because they talk about like Paulie and Mickey and Adrian, and it's just like, and you grew up with these characters, and they mean something to you because you do go back to them, you know.
Yeah. See, now, not to cut you off, but I knew I was going to start some shit here with Jeff. Oh, sorry, wait a minute. Wrong one. What? To which Gareth, who's always starting shit, sick of Jeff. And then Yam says, don't let Jeff know you don't like Rocky IV, because he'll want to meet you in a back alley. And then Jeff says, time to run up a mountain and yell out, well played, sir. Well played. But Patrick says Rocky IV did go over the top with the montages. Hell yeah. Montage the movie, I'm telling you. Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo was damn creepy. Hell yeah. And in Insomnia. I thought he was creepy in that movie too. No, I kind of said that Rocky shit for 2 reasons. Number one, to bait Jeff, because I knew he was out there.
Oh, okay.
I know how much he loves the Rocky movies, and me and Jeff are going to be talking about that in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Look, I'm telling you right now, Jim, if you talk shit about Rocky here in Philly, they'll kill you.
Well, see, that's what I was bringing up.
Yeah, okay? They'll kill you.
You're a Philadelphia guy, okay?
Yeah.
And I know how beloved Rocky is.
We got a fucking statue.
I know. They made it for the movie and they kept it.
Yeah.
But,
it's right out in front where the Sixers and the Flyers play.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
I know. So again, I kind of said that because of the Philadelphia connection, but I'm glad you brought that up, okay? Because outside of the Rocky movies, because I forgot to mention this with the top 3, I meant to.
Okay. Right?
Take the Rocky movies out of it.
Gotcha.
All right. What are your top 3 Philadelphia movies? Because there's been a lot of movies set in Philadelphia. Blowout, excellent choice.
Conversation.
Nice.
And Silver Linings Playbook. The Diner from Silver Linings Playbook, I'm 10 minutes away from.
Yeah. Cool.
So like
I like that movie.
I didn't live here at the time, but oh my God, it's like people we go past there driving by. People are getting their pictures taken in the booth. My nieces told me they have like a little plaque where like they filmed it, you know. So,
Nice.
but yeah, man, conversation. We can go into a long about that.
Yeah, like I said, there's been a lot of movies.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Chicago guy. You know, so there's a lot of movies set in Chicago, you know, but there's a lot of movies set in Philadelphia too.
While you were sleeping.
Yeah. Still haven't watched it.
It's a beautiful movie.
I'm sure it is, but you know
Sandra
how I feel
is
about
just
those
breathtaking.
beautiful movies. You know, I don't like rom-coms. I just don't. Okay, we got to get back to this too. And now I got Carlos going. You don't like Rocky 3, Jim? I pity the fool. Again, I loved all of those movies back in the day. Rocky 3 I saw numerous times theatrically, and that was before I was working at the theater, you know? It's just as the years have gone by, I went back to those movies and I'm like, man, this is cheesy. Man, this is not good. Man, this is, you know, whereas those first two movies, to me, you could combine them into one. It's almost like Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. To me, it's just one big movie. That's the way Rocky 1 and 2 are to me. You could take that and just make it one big ass 4-hour movie, and it'd be like the greatest boxing movie ever, you know, or sports movie, I should say, because Raging Bull is the greatest boxing movie ever. I mean, I'm sorry, it just is. But I'm glad you mentioned Blowout, because
I love that.
That movie doesn't get nearly as much love as it deserves. It is so good. You know, and I know I saw Dan would say Blowout because of the bicentennial celebration. That was a big deal. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know that, Dan.
Yeah. And Jeff says, Philly is one of my top places to visit because of the Rocky statue.
Oh, okay.
And I totally believe that. And that's great. And of course, he has to be cheeky. It says, no Raging Bull statue, though.
That's right.
Yeah. That's okay. We'll talk about that when you get out here in a couple of weeks. We're gonna have fun, Jeff. We really are. And Patrick says Cinderella Man is my favorite boxing movie. That's a really good movie too.
That is a very good movie.
I like it when you ever watch John Oliver on HBO?
Yeah, I watch him occasionally.
A couple of years back or whatever, he was going on looking for there was some Russell Crowe movie memorabilia auction for charity. That was when the pandemic was going on, I think.
Oh, okay.
So he told his staff to go on there and find the craziest propping they could find, and they found the jock strap that he had to wear during Cinderella Man. And they bid on it and won it, and they paid like $100,000 for that thing, and had it brought to the studio in a glass case and all this other bullshit. I mean,
that's crazy.
Oh man! But again, it was all for charity and everything. But yeah, it was funny as hell, man. He actually sent a link to Russell Crowe asking him if he was ever in New York, if he'd come by and sign it. And he's like, mate, I'll match what you did for charity, but I'm not signing a fucking jock strap.
At least he could sign like a postcard or something and put it inside the.
Right. I'm pretty sure he actually did at some point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember that shit. I just thought it was one of the funniest things ever. It was like, man, that's great.
Yeah, Carlos has about Joe Frazier. They have They have a statue of a fake, like a fictional in Rocky, but they don't have a Joe Frazier statue yet.
Right.
Go figure that out.
Right.
Same with Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain's one of the greatest basketball players to ever. My dad actually played with Wilt Chamberlain when they were in high school, and they don't even have a statue for Wilt Chamberlain. But we're getting one of the Tush Push coming in Philly, though.
Yeah, and Wilt Chamberlain got to hang out with Conan. Come on, man.
That was a good destroyer. I like both of those stupid.
That movie's
Conan
a piece
movies.
of shit. I love Conan the Barbarian. I mean, everybody knows how much I love that movie. I fucking hate Conan the Destroyer, man. Oh God. Okay, never mind. All right, Desert Island. You're on that Desert Island that Sean was on 2 weeks ago.
All right.
But in the meantime, they were able to fix the Blu-ray player, so you got 3 movies to keep you occupied. And they cannot be anything pornographic, of course, you nasty
No.
bastard. So, what are your 3 desert island movies?
I'd probably say Uncle Buck, Star Wars, and I'm going to go with Running Man as my third one. I just love that movie. A little action in that.
Maria Conchita Alonso.
So,
I want to motorboat those.
Ben Richards.
I'm going to say, please. Okay. Dan says, Frasier had an epic Christmas light display for years. People used to come for miles to see it. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. Dan is in that neck of the woods, same as you. Yeah. And Sydney is here. Thank you so much, Sydney.
Hey,
I appreciate you being here. And see, I started some shit between Carlos and Jeff here. 100% Raging Bull, best boxing movie, and it's real. No 10 knockdown rule, Jeff.
When you guys fight, I want you guys to play the Barbra Streisand main event.
In
the back.
Ryan O'Neal is the heavyweight champion.
Hurry, I'm in love.
I saw that theatrically. I do not remember a thing about it other than Patty D'Arbanville. Because for some reason I fell in love with her in that movie, and she's like the psycho chick in it or something. So that explains my first wife. Oh, all right. Now, you're a music guy.
Yes.
Okay, but your musical tastes are definitely different for the most part than me and than me and Sean.
Oh,
although
definitely.
recently, I did find out that who knew? You did a video where you reviewed a biography of Iron Maiden, and that shocked the living shit out of me. Okay, I mean, because I had no idea that you even knew who Iron Maiden was.
Well, the 80s, you listened to what your friends were listening to. And it was
I understand that, but every musical thing that I've gotten from you in the last year has been Billy Joel, Melissa Manchester, that sort of thing. So it's like, when you just out of your ass pulled out this book, to review Iron Maiden, I was like, wasn't that supposed to go to Sean's channel? What the fuck's going on here? You know what I mean? So it was like, good for you, man. That was a surprise, okay? But you like music movies.
Yes.
Okay, not necessarily musicals, but movies that have to do, with musical genres or music and so. I got to ask you, what's up with your love for the jazz singer other than that soundtrack, man?
You know what? I don't know. We seen that when it premiered on HBO. And it had a nice story. Like, we loved Neil Diamond in our house. We always had Neil Diamond playing. And my dad was a huge Neil Diamond fan. And we always had, I remember when we had the Love at the Greek album, and Fonzie got on stage singing Song Blue. It was the live concert, and it was a network TV show.
Yeah.
Neil Diamond was like really huge. I don't know. I love that movie. Lucy Arnaz is very pretty. I was 11 when I seen it. Yeah, I was 11 when I seen it. And something, I always liked Neil Diamond growing up. I don't know this. I'm not Jewish, so the story of when we went to our church, we went to like different churches, and we had to go to a synagogue. And I'm like, I know it. And my brother going, "You're not going to start singing the Neil Diamond stuff that he did in the beginning of Jazz Singer, because you might offend people." And I was like, all right, I won't like that. So, but it was just basically like even like when he's doing the tour and stuff, I didn't understand what he was doing, and I always get a rise out of my cousin when I do it, to her. So, but I don't know. I just love that. I just love that movie. The music is great in it.
I gotta bust your balls about the jazz.
Oh no, it's fine. I love the movie. I recommend it to people. It was one of my Tubi things, and one of my friends that watched our show, he was like, "Oh, my wife loved that movie," and I'm like, "Well, did you like it?" He goes, "I thought it was a piece of shit, but my wife liked it." And she even texted me. She goes, "Kenny, I really loved that movie." She goes, "What a beautiful story." And I'm like, Okay, I'm glad you liked it. I said, sorry, Joe, you didn't like it though. And Joe's like, what a piece of shit movie that was. And I was like, well,
No, it's a great soundtrack.
great soundtrack.
You will never hear me shit on that soundtrack. I mean, I've got love and respect for Neil Diamond. The man just couldn't act,
Oh yeah.
And Laurence Olivier, who is one of the greatest actors
You're
of
not
all
my
time.
son.
He's terrible in that movie, man. I mean, he's just terrible. I mean, yeah, he's supposed to be Neil Diamond's supposed to be playing a cantor boy, and he's 40 fucking years old. It's like, come on now.
You have to suspend your belief. And I did read in this that Olivier's roles were not 1 day, 3 hours.
Yep.
He spent 3 hours. He did the beginning. You're not my son. And if you notice, he's wearing the same outfit that he wears at the end when he starts singing America at the end. It just like totally totally blows your mind.
Oh, look at now we got some shit going here. Greg says Neil Diamond versus King Diamond.
I gotta go with Neil. Because even my buddy from church, he goes, I don't understand how you like that movie. And I'm like, sorry.
Oh, there you go. Dan says he got that Maiden Bible after you showed it. Awesome.
Oh, you did? Did you like it, Dan? Okay, cool.
Okay, now let's see here. Now, let's keep it nice here, gentlemen. Again, there's no Raging Bull statue, no Raging Bull location tour either, or replica shop for that matter. Carlos loves throwing gasoline on the fire. He just likes making things spicy, But then Patrick has to jump into the fray and says, no statue for Over the Top either. That's another one. People fucking love that movie, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This movie's a piece of shit, man. I mean, great soundtrack.
Great song by Kenny Loggins.
I wanted to slap the shit out of that kid so much, man.
Yeah.
He's just so fucking annoying. Man. So Jeff says, don't you start, Patrick. They sing that stupid Sweet Caroline at Red Sox baseball games. Yeah. We won't talk about the Red Sox. I don't like the Red Sox. I'm a White Sox fan. Okay, now, Greg asked about Neil Diamond versus King Diamond. And, of course, Sean says, I'd pay to see that. Kenny loves yams, and they're coming to America.
Hey, you got to admit, one of the best cameos is Saving Silver when Neil's in there. Hey, we're coming to America.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's awesome. All right. Well, we are coming up to the 2 hour, guys, but we're not quite done yet. I'm just looking at some of these comments. I don't want to get back into now people are weighing how much Stallone was, 202, 200, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I was just making jokes about all that shit, guys. Let's keep it nice. Dan says, please tell me you're not a fan of Yes, Giorgio, Kenny.
No.
You know what that is?
Yeah, the Pavarotti
movie. Yeah, that movie's so fucking bad. We had that one at the theater when I was working there.
Did you really?
For 1 week. I mean, that movie came and went, but it was like every time I was like, hey, boss, can I change the fucking the marquee to say, no, Giorgio? It's just, oh, God, that movie was bad. Let's see here. 310 to Yuma came out in Gregory Peck's death year. Okay. I don't know about that, but yeah, 310 to Yuma is great.
Both versions.
Both versions, yeah. Both versions. And Gregory Peck was great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, like I said, we are coming up on the 2 hour note here, but before we go, I want to give Kenny a chance here to plug his channel and anything else he might have coming up on said channel or on the internet. So the floor is yours, sir. By all means.
Yeah, it's just basically me going through like stuff that I've bought, and I do reviews, stuff that like just pops into my head or something like that. That's basically it. I have like my neighbor brought me my mail, so I do have another video coming up soon. Mm-hmm. And then this Tuesday, it's Slasher Mania on
Yeah.
the Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim channel. So we'll be going through slashers, and this is going to probably be my weakest show because I'm not very enamored with that. But man, the guy that we brought in to this week knows a ton about like slasher movies. Brian the Horror Punk. So
Absolutely.
Brian, between Brian, Jim, and Sean, I'm just gonna lay back. If I smoked, I'll grab a Marlboro and just like sit back and just like listen to the comment and listen to them talking and reading the comments. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to it because I did open up. That's the thing about like being a movie fan. You open up to yourself to new experiences and new things that you're not like totally used to. So
Absolutely.
so it's fun doing that and learning about new genres. There's like some of them that I just don't understand, but hey, I'm open for it. Like I said, I'll watch anything once because people try to, put a good, especially like we can go into the Wild Eye. I don't understand how that exists. I don't understand how that company, go, goes to making movies because they basically get like strippers or like these people with tattoos like all over their faces and stuff like that. I don't understand it, but
Here's $100. Make a movie.
yeah, basically, and basically that's basically how those are. I don't understand how they get made, but hey, I'm not. I'm sitting here watching their work, so
That's why they're getting made.
Who am I to say?
Like I said, you're watching it, so that's why they're getting made, man.
Yeah.
But anyways, like I said at the beginning of the show, the name of Kenny's show or channel rather is Kenny's Movie Palace, and the actual handle is Kenny Jones, all one word, all lower cap or lower, lower cap.
Yeah.
6369. You can also reach him on Instagram at Kenny.Jones_19. And you can also reach Kenny at the Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim channel, which is at Talking Movies 2024. So please, if you have not done so, I cannot stress enough, please go over to Kenny's channel, show him some love. He deserves it. He puts out great content. And as you can tell from the last 2 hours, he's a great guy. So show him some love. Also, he just mentioned it, but I'm going to mention it again because I'm a whore. This coming Tuesday, June 3rd, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on said Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim, we will be joined by our very special guest, as Kenny so eloquently put, Brian from the Horror Punk.
The Horror Punk.
Brian is a horror aficionado. He knows quite a bit about horror, a lot about horror that I don't know about, and I consider myself pretty fluent in horror. But Brian, he knows his shit, okay? And on that very special episode, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite slashers, like Kenny said. But we're also going to be talking about what makes a good slasher, what constitutes slashers from different types of horror films and such. And the reason why we're talking about slashers is because, again, back in the day, especially in the early 80s, 1, 2, 3 a week were coming out. And they were all very, very similar in style and plot. Put a guy, give him a knife, an axe, something sharp, have him chase some people in the woods or wherever, end the movie. And there's usually one person left running around to face off the killer, and 90% of the time it's a woman. So, but there's more to it than that, and that's what we're going to talk about with Brian. So hopefully you can join us then at Tuesday at 7 p.m. Like I said, you can join us live at either the Talking Movies 2024 channel or at Sean's channel at Movie Assault. And I'll be leaving links to all of those channels in the description below when this posts on my channel. I also want to stress, in 2 weeks, please come back. If I haven't driven you away by my feelings about Rocky IV, come back in 2 weeks and join episode 12 of Shooting the Shit with Jim with my very special guest, Jeff, at 101 Bronson. And Jeff will be here, and he can spend 2 hours telling me how wrong I am about Rocky IV. There's Jeff right there, as a matter of fact. Jeff's a great guy. I have not had him on my channel yet. I have not actually had a live conversation. Well, no, that's not true. I have had one live conversation with Jeff, but I'm not going to go into details on that at this time. But it was a good conversation, and Jeff's a great guy. So hopefully you guys will come back in 2 weeks and join me and Jeff at that point. So once again, that will be on the 14th of June. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you in the comments who came by and made this such a fun show. We got people like Carlos and Stacy and Patrick and Molina. I feel like I'm on Romper Room right now.
Yeah.
And Jeff, Texas, Sean, Greg, everybody. If I didn't get back to your name, please. I really appreciate all of you. Adam, right here. Thanks very much for the great streams. I've just given you a sub, Kenny.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate
Enjoy the rest.
that.
Thank you so much, Adam. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
And Barry, as always, I really appreciate your support, my friend. You were talking about sending me those Steven Seagal movies. You ought to send them to Kenny. He's a fan. And I think he was just fucking with me anyway. So, but anyways, I really appreciate, Greg, everybody in the chat. You guys are great. And I cannot thank you enough. This show gets bigger and better every week. So, and that's all because of you guys. So once again, thank you all so much. And most of all, before we go, I want to thank Kenny here again. Kenny,
it's
once
been
again,
a blast.
thank you so much for being here, buddy. This was great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's nice to talk to you outside of the talking movies that we do with Sean, but hopefully you'll be back. We'll have you on here again. I told Sean last time I want to get both of you on here, and we'll drive everybody crazy where they get a double dose of us in 1 week. But as Sean just said here, let's get Kenny to 400 subs. Absolutely, so spread the word. Let people know Kenny's a great guy. He's got a great channel. He deserves the support. So
thank you.
And again, Jeff, no problem. I'm looking forward to our episode as well, my friend. And on that note, I think we're going to call it. Oh, wait a minute, real quick. Daniel, I didn't see you in the chat. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. I hope you have a great weekend as well, my friend. And thank you for all of your support on my channel. But I think on that note, we are going to call it a day, everybody. But once again, Kenny, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you in a couple of days on our show with Brian and Sean. That's going to be a lot of fun. And just wanted to say thank you to everybody. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Be safe, everyone. Bye-bye.